The United Defense M42, sometimes known as the Marlin for the manufacturer, was an American submachine gun in World War II. It was produced from 1942 to 1943 by United Defense Supply Corp for possible issue as a replacement for the Thompson submachine gun and was used by agents of the Office of Strategic Services, OSS History. The M42 submachine gun was designed by Carl G. Sweebelius of the High Standard Manufacturing Company in 1940. When High Standard was tasked with producing .50 Browning machine guns for the British government, further development of the submachine gun was handled the United Defence Supply Corporation founded by Pope and Jackson of the British Purchasing Commission. The UD-M42 was promoted as a replacement for the Thompson submachine gun, which the U.S. military considered both expensive and complicated to produce. Made in both 9x19 mm Parabellum and .45 ACP prototypes, the 9mm version was the only one to ever see widespread production. Manufactured by High Standard Firearms and Marlin Firearms, about 15,000 were produced in the last 3 years of World War II. Only 6.45 ACP prototype test guns were made. The weapon holds 25 9mm rounds in its magazine, designed by John E. Owsley, covered by patent 2,289,067. It has a cyclic rate of 700 rounds per minute. Frequently two 25-round magazines were welded face-to-face, allowing a quick reload when the first became empty, see illustration. The weapon itself weighs 10 pounds, 4.54 kilograms, empty, with a length of 32.3 in, 820 millimeters. The barrel length is 11 in, 279 millimeters, and it has 6-groove right-hand rifling. An extremely simple design, it was a straight blowback, selective fire weapon. It was built under hurry-up war conditions and some of its design flaws stem from this approach. Problems with the weapon were varied. Under combat conditions it was found that the sheet metal magazines had a tendency to warp out of shape, causing feeding problems. They had little tolerance for exposure to large amounts of mud and sand and tended to jam if not cleaned regularly. The gun was also labor-intensive to produce. It used all machined parts, no stampings, and under wartime conditions machine work is at a premium. However, proving ground tests showed it was easier to strip and maintain than the Thompson or Sten Mark II and was more accurate at 100 yards. Despite its expense and precision, the UD-M42 enjoyed a good reputation in OSS usage. The M42 submachine gun was classified as a substitute standard when the M3 submachine gun was introduced. It is often stated that it used 20-round magazines, which were used in .45 caliber prototypes. Only 25-round magazines were used in the 9mm United Defense Supply Corporation, 1940-45, was a government-formed company producing, acquiring, carrying, and selling arms, equipment, strategic and critical materials and supplies, and land. United was not actually part of its title. The M42 SMG was actually developed at High Standard Firearms and manufactured by Marlin Firearms Company. Operational use. Intended for use by U.S. troops at the time of its design, it found more favor being airdropped to partisan forces in occupied Europe. The weapon was airdropped to supply British-led partisan forces on the island of Crete, where it was used extensively. It also saw use among the partisan forces of the Italian and French resistance. Some of them were transferred to Dai Li's regular resistance forces in China for use against the Japanese invasion. The United Defense M42 was issued for use by Filipino troops under the Philippine Army and Philippine Constabulary during World War II from 1942 through the post-World War II era until the 1960s and was used by the local recognized guerrillas from 1942 to 1945 during the Japanese occupation. The use of the 9mm caliber allowed resistance forces to use captured ammunition in their weapons, eliminating the need for repeated resupply drops. Overall, the weapon failed in its intended role, to replace the Thompson, but proved effective in limited use in the hands of resistance forces. Users: Republic of China, China, Czechoslovakia 100 pieces from U.S. supplies used by insurgent army and partisans during Slovak national uprising. France supplied to the French forces of the interior. Vichy France, small number of captured examples issued to Milice Française. Italy, 1943-45. Netherlands. Philippines used by the Philippine Army and Constabulary during World War II and post-war era from 1942 to 1960s and using again by the local recognized guerrillas from 1942 to 1945 during World War II. United States. Type submachine gun. Place of origin United States. Service history. In service 1942 to 1945. Used by sea users. Wars World War II. Production history. Designer Carl G. Sweebelius. Manufacturer United Defense Supply Corp. Produced 1942-1943. No built 15,000. Specifications. Weight 4.54 kilograms, 10.0 pounds. Length 820 mm, 32.3 in. Barrel length 279 mm, 11.0 in. Caliber 9x19 mm parabellum. .45 ACP, prototype model. Action blowback. Rate of fire 700 rpm. Muzzle velocity 1100 feet/s, 335.3 m/s. Feed system 25 round box magazine, also issued with two 25 round magazines welded face to face. Sights fixed front post, rear adjustable for windage.
Please subscribe and thanks for watching.